No.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. We are now about to hold our superintendent and board recognitions for February 2025. And with that, we begin with elementary fall sport championships, and I now bring to you Mr. Jaffe Young.
Good afternoon, President Stewart, Superintendent Cole, board members. We are happy, elated, and excited to introduce to you the champions of this year's fall and winter sports. So at this time, I'm going to bring Mr. Sam, who is the supervisor of elementary and middle school sports, to have these recognitions done. Mr. Sam.
Good afternoon. I'm going to start with I'm going to start Glen Oaks Park Elementary, parish champions for flag football. The principal, Mr. Bernard Williams, Coach Daniel Fisher,
Y'all
Coach
line up
Edmund
right here
Weber.
so everybody can see you. Line up in here so everybody can see you. See the champions. Everybody need to see the champions. Let's give it up for them. Everybody needs to see the champions.
I got some medals to give out.
And a special congratulations to this team. They're two-time parish champions.
All right.
All right. High five, Emily. High five, Emily. High five. Oh, high five. High five.
Okay, I have to do it again apparently. High five. Nice. Come on, smile, you won! Big time! Congratulations!
Well, let me go get a picture.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all, get a picture.
Okay.
Who the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? I'm standing by. There you go.
All right, everyone, right this way. Take a couple shots. 1, 2, 3. Y'all look good.
Give it up for them. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good job. That's a good job. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't be afraid to clap for these young people. With so much negativity in our world and so many reports about the bad our young people do, we ought to be able to celebrate them when they do well. So please feel free to acknowledge them as we recognize our young scholars for their athletic accomplishments as well as their academic accomplishments. So please shout, scream, do whatever you want. We want to celebrate our young people. Thank you very much.
Our next team is Mayfair Lab Volleyball. Their volleyball coach is Ms. Kim Higgins.
All right.
Principal Kyle Fontenette. And a very, very special congratulations on 4-time parish champions.
And if your child is up here, come on up to the front and take a picture. Don't be scared to come on up to the front and take a photo. You can't let these moments pass by. You got to get it. You got to get the evidence of this right here.
All right, here we go. Right this way, please.
Oh, no, wait.
All right, right here, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, get on it. We'll make a little time to celebrate. Get on in there. That's what the school board meeting's supposed to be about anyway, the children.
That's right.
Take a picture with your children.
All right, guys, right here. 1, 2, 3. Look good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next up, we're going to celebrate our middle school fall and winter sports champions. First up, we have our middle school football champions. And before they come in, I want to say, they mentioned it earlier, but kudos to the parents, the coaches, and the teachers and faculty to come out and support these student athletes on the weekends and on the weekdays to come and see them. So thanks to all of you guys for supporting them in their efforts. So middle school football champions, 4-time parish champions, CSAL. Principal Landry Williams, head coach Kirk Pellichet, assistant coach Kevin Jackson. I switched it, I'm sorry. Head coach Kevin Jackson, assistant coach Kirk Pellichet, Principal Landry Williams. Yeah, they need like 4 rows.
Well, I don't wear heels. They're tall. Congratulations.
Take a step back, you fella. You all right?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, sir. How you doing?
Y'all had fun in Birmingham?
It was good. It was really good.
I gotta get in 1, 2, 4. I'm gonna say what she said. I'm gonna say, Cognia.
Did he get his? Yeah, because they won 4 times.
All right, everyone. I got you in frame. 1, 2, 3.
Elementary.
Excuse me. On behalf of the CSAL football team, I would like to present this ring to Mr. Cole because he was a part of what we did at CSAL.
Don't forget, basketball guys hang out over there. Basketball guys hang out. No, they're after this, yes. One more and then them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
See it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is so cute.
Oh, nice. That's heavy.
Next, our other fall middle school sport, middle school volleyball. We're gonna have a big congratulations for the Westdale Middle School team, who are 5-time champions.
I'm gonna line up in here. Line up in here. Line up in here.
Principal Ramona Rimble, head coach Shawanda Hill, assistant coach Tyka Boom Hill.
All right. Woo, woo, woo. Coach RJ.
And Coach RJ.
Line up so everybody can see you. Come on, Coach, here, get them together. Line up so everybody can see the champions.
Get a chance, look at the schedule. I'd like to get with you next week sometime.
Morning, afternoon.
Make sure I see everyone's face. Look good.
Look up, Miss Hill.
I'll get the next one.
All right.
All right, hold up, Molly. Molly, hold up, hold up.
All right, yes. All right. Yeah, we got to get Coach on over here. Come on, Coach. Damn, Coach.
All right, guys. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Any parents want to get in pictures? Any parents want to take pictures with any parents?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job, Coach Hill. How many is that, Coach Hill?
Oh, altogether 17.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But I'm
Yes,
not counting.
okay, yes, ma'am.
Next, our winter sports. Middle school boys basketball champions, 4-time parish champions, CSAL Middle School. Principal Landry Williams. Dean of Students, Ms. Cole. Head coach, Kirk Pellichet. Assistant coach, Kevin Jackson. Yeah, 2 rows, 3 rows. One row.
He said he's also.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I said that one.
Okay, guys, everyone in the frame. 1, 2, and 3.
And one with the 4s, 4 times again. Congratulations. Thank you. Next up, middle school girls basketball champions, Southeast Middle School. Principal Regina Bennett, head coach Milton Ross, assistant coach Dana Hill. This is Southeast's first parish championship. They are 3-time district champions.
Wait. That's incorrect. Southeastern won about 8 or 9 girls championships. Isn't that right?
Well, all together, we were doing it in a row. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Marlon, do you need 2 rows, or is that good?
Smiling.
Coach, smile.
Oh, yeah. They have a special recognition. First official soccer championship.
Parents, come on, get in the photo. Come on, parents. We put it on the website.
Wait. I'm sorry, he didn't get a picture. Our photographer didn't get a picture. Wait, our photographer didn't get a
Parents, come on, get in. We're going to put it on the website. Put you in the lights. Hug your child for such a joyous occasion.
And, all right. There you go. Congratulations.
Congrats. Keep up the excellent work.
Next up, and a very special recognition, this is the district's first official soccer championship this year. We had a full season, so we were able to have a championship run. And both boys and girls champions are represented by Westdale Middle School. Principal Ramona Rimble, head coaches Andrew Miller and Kurt Green, assistant coach Elizabeth Romare.
I know it.
Come on, Mr. Green, smile.
Mr. Green. Oh, you cool.
And we have a great group standing in. They are so accomplished, as Superintendent Cole mentioned, that many of their players are at Beta Convention, so that's why they're not all here. But we're recognizing them this evening. You guys look right here.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Hold on.
Any parents? Want in a picture? In the picture? Go on. You good? Okay.
And the parents get in the picture, Y'all good? Okay.
You good?
Okay. All right.
Okay. I think I'm done. Thank you. Yeah.
You finished? And, okay, is that it, Mr. Joffrey? Okay.
That's it.
All right. And next, we have our Student of the Year, which will be presented also by Mr. Joffrey Young.
Yes, sir. Good evening again, Board. At this time, we would like to recognize those East Baton Rouge Parish Students of the Year. I'm excited about this year's winners because it was a hard job to do. We had representatives from each school in the district, and all of them deserve to be the district's Student of the Year, but we only could pick one per level. So now we will show you the fruit of our labor when it comes to these winners from our charter schools as well as our district itself. So for the district, our elementary Student of the Year is Zoe Jenkins from Parkview Elementary.
All right.
Because people standing on the watch.
Congratulations.
Get it right, Mom.
Coming in long.
Mom, did y'all bring any other family members? Yeah, okay, all right. Congratulations. Congratulations, Zoe. Keep up the excellent work. Keep up the excellent work.
Our middle school Student of the Year is Zachary Jarquin from Sherwood Middle.
One move that bell around.
Look, turn it.
Still flip. Come on, get right out here now. Do Zachary right now.
Family, get it in.
Ms. Knoll, get in the photo. Take a photo with your Student of the Year.
All right, come in tight first. Step. 1, 2, 3. Coming in long. Excellent.
Congratulations, Zachary. Keep up the excellent work.
And our high school Student of the Year for the district is Caitlin Smith from Baton Rouge Magnet High.
Where is she? Right there.
And Caitlin is not with us tonight because she is representing herself as well as her school in Washington, D.C. right now. So we want to show her some congratulations as well. Now our Charter School District of the Year winners. Our elementary charter school Student of the Year is Jace Johnson from CSAC.
Don't stop him. Let him go.
Family.
Let's go, family. Let's go. All of y'all family, stand up. Stand up.
Superintendent Cole say celebrate. He ain't say cut up. He ain't say cut up.
There are far worse things we could be cutting up about.
That's it. One love, one love, one love. Come on, Kyle. Come on. See you, Bert. You ain't advertising for me. Get on this side. Get over here. That's right.
fix your medal right quick for me. There, go. Looking good. All right, family, right here. 1, 2, 3. That's it.
They don't go to elementary. He goes to
Our middle school charter student of the year is Carissa Carter from Inspire.
Where's Carissa? She's not here?
She may be at Beta Convention too as well. We have
That's
a lot
all
of
right.
students who are. And our high school charter student of the year is Addison Alcido from Helix Mentorship. Salcido.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Come in tight. All right,
Family? Yeah, all right, come on.
Teachers?
family.
Brother, come on.
All of it.
Come on.
All right. Looking shy. 1, 2, 3. Come in long. Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now we will move to our last recognition, at least under my department. That is the Young Arts Program of the National Foundation for the Advancement of Artist Winners. And Mr. Sherman, who is our music specialist, will do the honors.
Hello, President Stewart, members of the board, Mr. Cole. My name is Glenn Sherman, instructional specialist for music for the school system. I bring to you this afternoon 2 students who have been selected as national winners for the Young Arts Competition. They were selected with 800 other students from across the country. And those 800 were selected from 11,000 students. So we not have only 1, but we have 2 students who were selected for this honor. And I'm going to ask one of their teachers, Dr. Kimberly Costanza of the Talented Program, to come speak about the students and the program, please.
Good afternoon. The Young Arts Program was founded in 1981, and what the program does is it identifies exceptional young artists, amplifies their potential, and invests in their lifelong creation. And so what they do is they allow the students to audition for different areas in the program, and every year thousands audition between the ages of 15 to 18. East Baton Rouge Parish and Baton Rouge Magnet High School is proud to have 2 winners this year. Mr. Anthony Burton, he's a senior, and he was a winner in the singer-songwriter category, and Miss Sydney Wheeler, she's a senior and a winner with distinction in the popular voice category. Miss Nan McCann is the principal at Baton Rouge High. I teach both of these students talented music, and then Miss Emily Defoe is their regular choir teacher. I'm honored to help recognize these students. Mr. Anthony Burton was selected as a winner in the singer-songwriter category. He is unable to attend tonight because he is in tech rehearsals for the musical Little Shop of Horrors at Baton Rouge High, which opens next Wednesday. He told me, please invite everybody. And Anthony's mother, Miss Jacqueline Burton, is here in his place. Anthony received a scholarship and now has been given connections through this program with people from around the country. And this is his mother, Miss Jacqueline Burton. He was required to write. He wrote himself 3 songs. Anthony plays the piano and sings, and he had to record himself performing these. And he was chosen as a winner for the singer-songwriter category. Miss Sydney Wheeler was selected as a winner with distinction. So this is a higher level in popular voice. She was selected as one of 175 out of the 11,000. She was required to sing 3 songs and submit them for the competition. Her door to the world of arts has been opened tremendously. She not only won a scholarship, she was also treated to an expense-paid week in Miami to work with very well-known people that are in the art of music and singing. And she was there, she was able to sing in a solo concert. She participated in master classes about vocal health, vocal technique, musical theater, and she also met students from around the world who she now calls her friends. Around the country. While at the workshop, she was also selected as one of only 60 people to be nominated for the U.S. Presidential Scholars for the Arts Award. So that will be coming later in April, the announcement of the winner of that, Miss Sydney Wheeler.
And just a shameless plug for those in TV land and board members, be looking in the mail for next month. As you know, it's Arts in Schools Month. So we have every school in the district who has specialized programming going on all month. So we're on tour, if you will, in the arts in our schools in Baton Rouge during the month of March. So be on the lookout for that mailer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaffion. And last but not least, we have VIPs that Ms. Miller will be making a presentation. Ms. Miller?
Hi, good evening. That was so special, made me emotional. And tonight, I'm so excited to recognize an exceptional community partner at Capitol Elementary. This month, we proudly shine the spotlight on Elm Grove Baptist Church. So give us a wave if you're from Elm Grove. I know we have a lot of people here, and we'll get a picture, I know, but I'm so glad they were able to come out. Elm Grove has been a steadfast presence at Capitol all year, with its volunteers serving as reading and math friends for students in 1st through 5th grade, so they cover all the grades. Their dedication is evident as they are on campus every single day, working closely with multiple students and investing countless hours to support their academic growth. Beyond their daily volunteer efforts, Elm Grove Baptist has consistently gone above and beyond to enrich the lives of Capitol students in meaningful ways. Their Adopt a School approach has been a driving force behind a lasting and strong partnership. They hosted a Christmas celebration where they invited the parents and the kids and gave them a meal and gifts. They sponsored Girl Scout membership fees to ensure that more students have access to these leadership opportunities, and the list could go on with the ways that Elm Grove has stepped up for Capitol students. Ms. Broadway, the assistant principal at Capitol, has these kind words to share. The Elm Grove Baptist Church Community Outreach Team is a dedicated and enthusiastic group driven by a deep passion for teaching, learning, and making a positive impact. It is evident that this group of volunteers inspires and impacts students and teachers they come in contact with. They have been observed reaching struggling students with simple yet profound motherly and fatherly instincts and empathy matched with complete professionalism. From Ms. Broadway and the principal, Ms. Johnson, thank you, Elm Grove Baptist Church, for partnering with Capitol Elementary School to ensure our students strive for success and develop a love for reading. So on behalf of VIPs, volunteers in public schools, and the administration at Capitol and the board, we thank you and recognize Elm Grove Baptist Church as our outstanding partner for January. And Miss Daisy from the church is going to come say a few words, and then we'll get a picture of all the volunteers together.
As Miss Daisy comes forward, I don't mind sharing. Number one, Elm Grove is a part of my district, and so is Capitol Elementary. Thank you so much for your service, and we hope to bless you guys even more, and the best is yet to come. So thank you so much for all that you do in our schools.
Superintendent Mr. Cole, I heard that you're doing great things with East Baton Rouge Parish Schools. Blessings. To the school, each Baton Rouge Parish School Board members, we, the members of the Elm Grove Baptist Church, greet you all in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We are elated and over-honored and joyed to receive this recognition. This path was placed on Reverend Howard's heart through God. He made the call and we answered. We thank the Capitol Elementary School, Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Broadway, and the school for opening arms to receive us. We instilled to allow us to teach their children, to receive their children. We appreciate everything that they allowed us to do. We instilled in the children. They permitted us to come on their campus to instruct and learning together, instilling them that they are cherished, loved, and wonderfully created by God. And we appreciate each and every desire and let them know that whatever their hearts desire, they can accomplish it. I would like each and every member to please stand, state your name, and what position you held in instructing the children. Stand up, volunteers.
Okay, I'm Hilda Carter and I work with third grade.
I'm Sandra Davis, I work with first grade. Come on up.
Just come up there, yeah.
Come on up. Don't let the kids get all the spotlight.
John Davis.
Come on, finish telling what you do. We like to hear.
Yeah, that's right.
My name is Sarah Simmons, I work with kindergarten.
Yes.
I work with third graders.
My name is Yuma Brooks, and I work with first grade.
Yours truly, Daisy Johnson. I work with kindergarten and first grade. Also, Sister Nancy LaBelle works with fourth and fifth graders. We humble and gracious hearts, we thank you all for allowing us, and God bless each and every one of you, and may you have grace, God's grace with you always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We thank Elm Grove, and we challenge every other church, nonprofit organization, for-profit organization, anyone who wants to help and support our students. Elm Grove is challenging you to do so.
That kid out like each other. That's beautiful. All right. One, 2, and 3. Make sure I got a good shot.
Thank y'all. Hey, sir. Thank you. Good to see you.
And that concludes our board recognitions. We would like to thank everyone, all the guests that came here to give the congratulatory and recognition. Thank you for coming. And next, we will go into our meeting, but we'll have a 5-minute break in between, so we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I did already. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, Thursday, February 20th, 2025, our regular meeting. The invocation will be led by School Board Member Sule, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Cadet Staff Sergeant Jayla Mark from Liberty Magnet High School, accompanied by Senior Army Instructor Colonel Jonah M. Hughes.
Please bow your heads. Father God, we pray for eyes to see the best in people, a heart that forgives the worst, a mind that forgets the bad, and a soul that never loses faith in you. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, President Stewart, Superintendent Mr. Lamont Cole, and other esteemed members of the school board. It is my distinct honor to introduce to you the face of Liberty Magnet High School, Battalion JRTC Staff Sergeant Jalen Mark. She's in her second year at Liberty JRTC program. She represented Liberty's Let 1 and Let 2 on leadership education training among other JRTC peers, and she won the Let board overall as a cadet in Let Year 2, which is this current year, including last year as Let 1 overall winner. Currently, she serves on the Liberty JRTC Raiders and Color Guard team. Also, she's an honor student with a GPA of 3.5 and a dual enrollment in classes at Liberty Magnet High School. Upon graduating from high school, she will enlist in the Air Force and pursue her Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing. Staff Sergeant Marks desires to be a traveling nurse while serving her country. To that, Mark is a model, leader, and she amplifies what it means to be a JRTC cadet. She demonstrates great character, and instructors can always trust her to complete her job. Ladies and gentlemen, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Staff Sergeant Mark of Liberty Magnet High School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag under the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sergeant, on behalf of the school board and the superintendent, we'd like to present you with this medal, and I'm going to let you put that on yourself. And congratulations on all your hard work, and keep up the studies. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, can I get a roll call?
District 4, President Stewart.
Present.
District 7, Vice President Gode.
Here.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Here.
District 2, Mr. Lannis. District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Present.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Present.
District 8, Ms. Ule.
Present.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. B, meeting minutes, approval of the following East Baton Rouge Parish School Board meeting minutes for January 9th, 2025, school board meeting, January 9th, 2025, committee of the whole meeting, January 16th, 2025, regular board meeting, January 30th, 2025, special board meeting as published in the official journal. Can I get a motion? I'm sorry, public comment? No public comments? Okay, I have a motion by Board Member Martin, and do I have a second? And second by Board Member Lewis. I'm sorry, Cliff Lewis. Coach Cliff Lewis. Can I get a vote, Madam Secretary?
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item C, information only. Number 1, the monthly financial report. Number 2, personnel changes. And then number 3, point of information. This announcement of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board members who have successfully completed annual training for the 2024 mandated by Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 17, Section 53, and the total credit hours received. Mark Ballou, 1, Darius Lannis, 0, Carla Paul Lewis, 16, Cliff Lewis, 9.5, Shoshone Stewart, 6.5, Nathan Russ, 14, Michael Goday, 8, Emily Soule, 7.5, and Patrick Martin, 20. I'm sorry, there's a comment on the financial report. I apologize. Mr. Goday?
Yes, thank you. Actually, it's on the HR report. I just wanted to congratulate the HR department for putting out the visuals. It is very good on their report and makes it easy to understand. And, you know, when you start looking at these numbers and recognize that we've had, since the beginning of the school year, we've had 335 instructional personnel leave or resign, plus 6 retirements. And that's a big number to be replacing. So I just want to congratulate our HR department for replacing those. But is the HR, is Bianca here? Can I ask you a question real quick? On the school site vacancy chart, I'll just look at the first one. It has, if I look at like the Broadmoor region, it's got total, then total core teachers and stuff. Is the total on that? I don't understand the chart.
Okay, you'll have total vacancies, and then you'll have total teacher vacancies, and then total core. Is that what you're looking at? Because in total vacancies, you may have. Okay, yes. You may have paraprofessionals and different positions that are included in the total.
Okay. I'll get with you later, but I need some understanding of that because I don't follow it.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
but you do like it.
I do like it.
Good.
I do like it. Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goday. Item D, receive information update from Superintendent.
Thank you very much, Madam President, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, and boys and girls at home. Thank you so much for tuning in for another week of what's happening in East Baton Rouge Parish School System with the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board. Tonight's updates are going to be focused on the 3 core commitments of our newly updated strategic plan. The district has launched a systemic common formative assessment program, which are brief assessments we administer every 10 days in our CD&F schools to determine whether or not our students are mastering skills, standards that are going to be measured on LEAP 2025. And so what ends up happening every 10 days, we assess standards that have been taught. We use the assessments to determine where kids are, and then our teachers in our schools intervene where there are weaknesses and then enhance where there are strengths. And so we're really excited about those numbers. Next month, our chief academic officer is going to come forth and give us a report about the CFA program and how it's working. We've identified special education and English language learners that are currently taking the statewide mandated alternative assessments across the district. The statewide assessment runs through the month of February. Earlier this month, myself and members of our team had an opportunity to meet with State Superintendent Cade Brumley and members of his leadership team to discuss ongoing instructional support and the technical assistance that they are providing for our schools. We're really excited to be collaborating with the state as much as we do in terms of being in our schools, working with our staffs, providing the support to make sure we meet the needs of our students. In addition to that, our staff has been working with Audubon as well as Third Futures in this transition of the students at IDEA schools. We've been on those campuses twice in the last week to meet with families so we can ensure a smooth transition. Our district spelling bee will be held on February 24th and 25th at the Capitol Park Museum. We look forward to 2 exciting days celebrating our 3rd and 8th grade students. In the area of operational excellence, our staff members continue to engage and an external consultant on the budget protocols and the communication. To this end, the district hosted community conversation on the budget process. We've had a series of conversations with the consultant at the request of our board to think about our budget process and how we do things, and perhaps at the end there will be recommendations on how we can be more efficient in terms of how we use our funds found in our budget to best meet the needs of our students and put the money where it needs to be most in the classroom with the kids so they can benefit the most. Staff continues to work with the consultant on the data disaggregation related to our operational efficiencies by parent academic, facility, financial, and programmatic data to guide our decision-making. Last month, we approved the guiding principles, and on tomorrow, we're going to be launching our website around our school alignment process, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow morning when I give a report about my first 100 days as superintendent, which can be watched on our YouTube channel. And in employee development, our academic team continues to review curricular resources and ensure that high-quality instructional materials are in place and being used. It's one thing to have high-quality instructional materials in our schools, but it's something completely different to be using them and to use them with fidelity. One of the things we recognize and know, no matter where our students are in terms of their academic performance, they must be exposed to high-quality materials. They must see the work, they must see the information on grade level if we're ever to ensure that all of our students are working towards grade level. The district continues to collaborate with NIET for job and better support for instructional leadership teams at the school level and district leadership team at the system level. NIET is also supporting short-term and long-range planning to impact school improvement initiatives in identified sites. Just-in-time trainings have been scheduled throughout this month. The job embedded professional learning sessions are designed to provide targeted, timely support for teachers, coaches, and leaders across all grade bands. Even though we surpassed our first 100 days, we are still evaluating every aspect of our school system and all of our systems to determine where we need to streamline, where we need to make adjustments, and where we need to deploy our resources better. To that end, we did a search, a very lengthy search, and we conducted a series of interviews, and I'm happy and delighted to introduce to you our new head of HR this evening, Dr. Lisa Smothers, who is here. Come on up, Lisa, Dr. Smothers. Very excited to have Dr. Smothers with us. I interviewed Dr. Smothers 3 times, trying to make sure, and we had a host of internal candidates who applied as well as external candidates who applied. But in my conversations with Dr. Smothers, I shared with her not only my concerns about our HR department, but I shared with her the concerns of you all as board members with our HR department, and I feel confident she has assured me we are going to have the best HR department in the state, a model HR department that people can come and see. And the changes we need to make, Dr. Smothers knows she has my full support to make those changes and adjustments, even if that is redirecting career paths for folks who just don't understand the direction we're trying to go in. So, Dr. Smothers, if you don't mind, please share a few words with the people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all, and good evening to each of you. I'm very excited to serve as your Chief of Human Resources, and I'm looking forward to building the HR team alongside a dynamic team of HR professionals. I'm excited about the movement that we're going into, the forward thinking, the building the dynamics of our HR department, specifically along the lines of customer service. I believe that the team has done a phenomenal job thus far in, cultivating customer service within the department. But of course, we want to work hard to elevate that service. I am definitely looking forward to working with each of you, definitely for, even with our superintendent to support the vision and mission of East Baton Rouge Parish School System. And I must say, I am a product of East Baton Rouge Parish Schools, along with my husband. We are proud graduates of Broadmoor High School, class of '94, where we served as Mr. and Mrs. Broadmoor. So I tell you, we are excited to serve in this capacity, and I'm definitely looking forward to advancing again, as I said, the vision and the mission of the school system. If you all need anything, definitely please feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate to contact me for anything that you may need or any concerns that you have. But again, I cannot stress enough that The department as it is wonderful. I'm looking forward to advancing it and making any necessary changes to promote, again, the work that we're going to do within the school system to serve the people of this great school system. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Smothers. At this time, we're going to have Cognia, who is here. Cognia is our accrediting agency. The district recently completed its accreditation renewal, earning accreditation scores at the highest achievement level and above the organization's network average. As the world's largest accreditation and improvement network, Cognia serves over 40,000 schools and districts in 90 countries worldwide. Joining us tonight is Ms. Christy McCleary, a regional director with Cognia, for a special presentation. Ms. McCleary.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It is my honor to be here tonight with the Cognia Excellence in Education Award. The Cognia Excellence in Education Award is an award that is presented annually in each state to one individual who has demonstrated significant leadership in promoting and advancing excellence in education. And this award seeks to identify people who really generate a common vision and mission for higher expectations among students, faculty, and the education community. People who demonstrate a record of significant and distinguished contributions to the education profession, who provide a lasting positive impact on student learning, and who serve as a role model and mentor for future generations of educators. And it is my honor this evening to be able to present the Cognia Excellence of Education Award to Andrea Okonski.
Promise the superintendent I'd be concise. Some of you know it's hard to render me speechless, but when Christy first contacted me about this, she did. So 2 words came to mind: humbled and grateful. I am truly humbled by this. When I look at some of the folks who have received this in the past, it is truly an honor. And I'm grateful to be able to tell the story of this school system. While I tell the superintendent, it's my name on here, but it's all of our names on here. There are fine folks sitting back here who walk every mile, every day, both employees and non-employees, who fight and tell the story of the system. There are fine folks at home watching. Suzanne Nevo is here with me representing the accountability team, but there are 14 of them out there at home who have put their work ethic every day against everyone else out there. And so we don't do this work alone. We don't do it in silos. We do it together. And Cognia represents in their core values growth mindset, continuous improvement. So that makes us even more special. So humbled and grateful, and thanks to Cognia, and thanks to all of you.
Andrea.
Yes, sir.
Please share with the board the last person in Louisiana to win that award.
Mr. Cole. The last person in Louisiana to win this award was a Carmelite nun from Mount Carmel Academy in New Orleans. There are 2 Mount Carmels in Louisiana. I happened to graduate from the other one. And the special story here, and some of you know, and this is extra special because it's been a challenging year. My mother was employed by the Carmelites for 30 years. So the person who employed her and her immediate supervisor was, I believe, the last Louisiana recipient of this award. So that's special. Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Ms. Okonski. Keep up the excellent work.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate and value your efforts every single day, and I appreciate you for being brief in your remarks tonight. Thank you so much.
Got it. One team.
Mr. Martin?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to extend my own congratulations to Ms. Okonski as the board vice president, and President Powell Lewis and I had to be interviewed by the Cognia process, and we had to learn a lot about it, and it was not an easy process. You know, we had an interim superintendent. We had a little bit of well-publicized challenges at the board level. The system could appear to outsiders in disarray, but Ms. Okonski coached us on what to say, educated us on the facts that we needed to know, and what the concerns of the Cognia reviewers were. This is not an easy review. Those folks are tough. They take their jobs very seriously. And so it truly is a tremendous accomplishment that we achieved our accreditation in such a challenging environment, and we would not have done it without Ms. Okonski. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
And in addition to board members, as you know, we work extremely hard every month to highlight and identify schools that are doing great work in our district and allow them to come and have a few minutes to talk about the work they're doing at their schools. However, this month we want to pivot for a moment. It is National Early Education Month, and so we're going to ask Shanoa Warren, and for this reason we are pushing our school spotlights and recognizing the work done in our early childhood team. For families within our community, the district's Early Childhood Network boasts exemplary ratings and serves as the state's largest network in terms of physical sites and the third largest network in terms of students served. I'd like to call Ms. Shanoa Warren, who leads our district work in early childhood, to share important information about our programs. Thank you, Ms. Warren.
Good evening, Board President Stewart and Superintendent Cole and members of the board. Thank you. This is Early Ed Month, and we're ready to celebrate. I want to say that every year the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, they kick it off in February. So this is their chance to raise awareness of the importance of early childhood education and care, as well as to make sure that we're continuing to invest in early childhood education and care. So some key messages that they promoted during this month is that child care is a critical piece of our economic infrastructure. Early childhood education is the industry that allows all other industries to thrive. Our children are in our child care centers while we're at work. So we want to make sure that we're invested so they can have a high quality education, because we know once we invest, it helps them to become long-term citizens in our society. So we had some fun last week on February the 12th. We hosted the Early Ed Day at the Crestworth Micro Center. We had a chance for our state and local officials to visit. We had Bessie board member Ronnie Morrison. We had Senator Regina Barrow, and we had them to come on out and they read to our students. They also had a chance to engage. They were so excited. Ms. Barrow said, "I'm coming back to bring them some pizza." She said, "And I have a plan to get more money into this program." And Denise Marcel said, "Oh yes, I have someone that can fund it." So it was really eye-opener. And I hope that you all have a chance to come out and visit us at the Crestworth Early Learning Center. Take a tour. And we'll give you all of the information about what is high quality, what type of investments that have been made, and how are we braiding the funding to support birth to pre-K4 programs. I challenge you to come out. And also, we want you to come read to the children. They will enjoy you and you will enjoy them. So what I really want to celebrate is our 22, 23, 24 ratings. This year, EBR has a 5.60 high proficient rating. That's on a 7-point scale. We are, like Superintendent Cole said, we're one of the largest districts in the network in our state, and we're proud of that. We're proud of what we've been doing. This has been a long term coming. And so I want to draw your attention to what does that mean? If you go to the next slide, you will see last year we had 171 sites. Almost 5,000 kids. And in there, all of our sites that include our partner sites of child care centers, private and parochial schools, and our EBR schools. Look at this, 31 excellent schools that were rated, 101 high proficient, 36 proficient. These are all of the sites in our network, 2 approaching and 1 unsat. That's everyone. And now let's shift to the EBR school system only. Out of our 42 elementary schools with pre-K programs, and I want to state this, we were above the state average. So that says something in itself. EBR was above the state average. In our EBR school system, we had 13 excellent school ratings. WHAM has been an excellent rated school in their program since the inception of the Early Childhood Network. We have 21 high proficient schools, 8 proficient and 0 approaching and 0 unsat. Now you see this audience that's filled. I'm about to turn around. I won
for all of our early childhood sites that are here to stand up to be recognized for your work. I would like the EBR Early Childhood team to also stand up. Our external partners, if you're here, please stand up. All right. So we could not do it without the team here. We partner, we make sure that we are supporting. We have a small team, but we have I call them the mighty Spartan 300. They're small, but they're getting the work done. We have to build the relationships, and we just thank them for raising a high quality, and we're going to continue to do the work. So thank you. So if you look at the trend data, this has been 10 years, almost 10 years there. You see we've had incremental growth starting from 2016 all the way up to 2024. So that's our trend data working every year. And we realize we still have challenges. It's a puzzle piece. It's a puzzle piece with funding. It's a puzzle piece with infrastructure. You know, when it's hard to get into our program because we have so many options, we have to work on how we can make sure we streamline it and make it easier for parents. So we will look forward to working with you and looking forward to solving those issues. But we've had some really great gains. So I want to end with this quote. It says, "Ask any child development expert, and they will tell you that children do not develop in a straight line. There are no average children. There are no standard children." So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for working with us to solve this puzzle piece, because it is a puzzle, and we want to make sure that we get it right for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Board Member Lewis.
Look, we're going to end up getting confused up here, Madam President.
I know. Board Member Carla Powell Lewis.
Ms. Warren, thank you so much for the work that you and your team have done and that you're in the midst of. You know that I am a personal fan, and I don't mind championing early learning for students all across this country. As a matter of fact, I had the opportunity to be on a call today with the Hunt Institute of Early Learning and their Early Learning Network and cohort. And one part of the conversation that came up with the different early learning providers across the country was, what is the major barrier? And I shared with them, as I've heard many others share as well, that the major barrier is funding. So I know that you all do excellent work, but my question on the mic to the public is, how much does it cost per student to fund early childhood services?
It's about $568 per student.
And that's per month?
Yes, that's not a lot.
Okay, so, and right now, if I'm correct, we've already stated that we don't receive funding on a state or a national level?
So we receive federal funding for our child assistance program, and most of those funds go straight through some of our child care centers like Courtney's Christian Academy. It goes straight to them. And so it's the flow-through funding. You all approve it, and it goes to them. But then for our pre-K4 and those 42 elementary schools, we only receive Cecil P. Card funding. And we also blend funding with, thanks to Federal Director Dr. Bethley with Title I, to help coordinate with that funding. So, and that's it for our pre-K4. But for birth to pre-K, it's very little funding.
So if there's any way that the community can help, we need to process the idea that it costs about $500 to $600 per month to fund the early learning seats that we really, really need in our community.
Yes, ma'am. Because right now there's a wait list. And so even though we are still taking applications and approving for children, they're going on a wait list. So that's because the federal funding is not there. We want to target those children as soon as they get out of the hospital, but there's a wait list. And so we have to do better to kind of find out how can we fund those seats.
All right, so thank you. So you all reach out to those who have deep pockets on behalf of our kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleague Paul Lewis. Mr. Gode?
Thank you. I want to echo much of what Board Member Powell Lewis said, because I agree with everything that, you know, we talk a lot about the gap that we have in 3rd and 4th grade literacy and math. And that gap begins very early, because if a child comes to us not kindergarten ready, we're playing catch up before the game even starts. And, you know, it was just very recently that kindergarten became mandatory in Louisiana. And, you know, I think that for some reason, many in our state just don't understand the importance of this. I was talking with some of our legislative representatives. When they talk about getting state money, all they get back is, oh, well, that's just paying for daycare. It is not paying for daycare. Right. It is paying for appropriate learning for the children that are there who may or may not get it at home, and do these things. And if we ever want to dig ourselves, and not only for ourselves, if we ever want to dig our kids out of the hole that we have, that coming into school, not ready for school and not being able to thrive and prosper in the school setting, this is the only way we do it. So I will echo Ms. Powell Lewis's appeal. Talk to your legislators, talk to the other folks, because it is basically unfunded. California, I know California does a lot of things crazy, but they also do some good things. And they have a whole program that's based upon birth to 4. And getting that up, and it's starting to show some results. Yes. And if we ever going to cure the problem that we have at 3rd and 4th grade, it's got to start when they leave Women's Hospital or when they leave wherever they have their birth, and get that started. So please, as the public, I appeal to you to try to remember that and push that as you talk to other folks within your circles, and more importantly, as you vote. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Warren. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, that completes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Cole. Next, we have item E, reports from board appointees to committees and agencies. Any of our board members have any reports? Ms. Carla Paul Lewis.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to skip you, Mr. Russ.
Oh, I didn't see
but that's okay. I do not have a report from committees or agencies, but I did want to take a moment of personal privilege. We are excited tonight to have the Sisters of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women of Metro Baton Rouge, and they are my sisters in this work. So ladies, if you will please stand. They are sitting in on tonight's meeting. And so, ladies, you are invited to fully participate in tonight's meeting. If you decide to comment or what have you, you can get a comment card. If you need a copy of the agendas are in the lobby as well. But we thank you for your service, and we hope that you get a chance to be enlightened tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carla Paul Lewis. Mr. Russ, you had something? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. As your appointee to the BREC Commission, after discussing this recently with President Stewart, I wanted to make sure that I'm doing a great job at reporting to the board the work that we're doing on our BREC Commission. And so I just want to apprise the board of a couple things. A couple notable items on the agenda this month is a CEA with Friends of the Zoo, which is a fundraising organization for our zoo, which is a great facility. If you haven't been, I encourage you to go. As well as a revision to a CEA with City Parish on a community center in, I believe, District 6 of the Metro Council that's being worked on. The pre-planning process is in process for BREC's side of our school in the park. And I'm going to be working to try to set up some discussions with Superintendent Cole and Mr. Wilson to get an update on that to the board, because I know a few members have expressed interest in where we are on that project. So that's all at this time. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Okay, is that all? No, okay, thank you. So next we have item F, unfinished business. We have the 2025-2026 school year calendar, consideration of a request for the approval of the 2025-2026 school year calendar. And we do have public comment. We have Ms. Matthews that would like to speak.
I've spoken to several of you guys this week about the new information that I learned about with option 1 about October break possibly being the reason why the teachers may have gone to Mr. Cole about that week was due to one of the football team's homecomings being that weekend and substitute coverage. So a lot of teachers taking off that Friday and not having a lot of subs for the coverage. So teachers would still have to take off for the PD that is Friday, October 17th, but that would not impact instruction in any way. We wouldn't have to have substitute coverage for that. So that makes it understandable for why the October break would be pushed back that week as far as class coverage. However, with option 2, I did see that they took away Ash Wednesday, which was heavily discussed on the board during the COW, but they're not really giving that instructional time, which is what you guys were really asking for, because they took a full day of instruction for PD on March 16th. So that's not really giving what you guys were asking for. Also, with no half days at the end of the semesters, that is truly doing a disservice to the middle and the high school teachers, where we are needing to grade and we are needing to pack up the classrooms. Now, I had a very in-depth conversation, well, why? What are the kids doing? I'm like, okay, so we're talking about bored teenagers. What do bored teenagers do? Those of you that have kids or have had kids, what do bored teenagers do? They get into mischief. I'm like, well, okay, so what would they be doing if they were at home? Well, getting into mischief probably. But guess what? We're constantly told as teachers to stay in our lane, right? That we're there to teach them English. We're there to teach them social studies. We're there to teach them science. We're there to teach them, whatever subject, French, Spanish, whatever subject we teach them, and it's the parents' job to raise them, right? We're not there to raise them. Isn't that the dialogue that is happening every single day? That it is not our job to raise people's children, correct? That's the dialogue, right? That it's not our job to raise them. Well, it's not our job to raise them. And in 3 days, guess what? They're gonna be home for winter break for 2 weeks. They're gonna be home for summer break for 2 months. What are parents going to do then? They're going to take them to camps, which are available on those 3 days. The Y is open. They have the daycares that are open. So parents are able to take advantage of those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Ms. Johnson, Ms. Valencia Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Valencia Johnson, and I'm the president of the East Baton Rouge Parish Association of Educators. Myself, along with the other union, we still support option 1. It's the most feasible for all sides. I think that if we are going to extend the year, that we need to have a better rhyme or reason or more detailed information as to why we're doing it and how we're going to do it and how it's going to impact whatever goal that we're trying to make. Are we trying to, is it really that we're adding days just to satisfy parents for daycare reasons? Are we doing this for enrichment reasons? Are we trying to do remediation? What is our real goal in adding these days? Are we doing this as professional development? Because the calendar options that I saw, 2 and 3, you add professional development days, but they are sporadic throughout the year. You start all the calendars pretty much start the same. So what is the real goal? You eliminate the half days, and which we surveyed our members, and most teachers agree with the elimination of half days. But the elimination of Ash Wednesday, no, because regardless of your religion, it's a high missed day. And that's why it was placed on the calendar as a holiday, because most teachers are absent. What does that do? That ensues chaos in the school because you don't have the coverage you need. That becomes a safety issue. So if we look at those days that high absentee days, then we need to make sure that you're not just saying that it's a religious reason, because it's not. It's because it's a high missed day, and you need to look into that and investigate it further. You can look at the numbers, but that's why that day was placed on the calendar as a day off. It's not for religious reasons. It's because it's a high absentee day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And Mr. Gode is going to read, we have some online comments.
Thank you. We have one online comment from Kirsten Campo. Please choose calendar 1. Taking those half days away means that I, as a teacher, have less time for grading and planning. Students do not engage on those days anyways. They've already checked out mentally. Secondly, the second calendar seems to have more instructional days overall, aka a shorter Mardi Gras break on top of the removed full days. Overall, I think option 1 is the best option. And I'll refresh, but I think that concludes the comments. Yes, that concludes the comments.
Thank you, Mr. Gode. Now we have board comments. Colleague Paul Lewis.
We're going to have a presentation as well. So why don't, if it please the board.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Superintendent Cole, you go ahead with the presentation.
So from 2 weeks ago, we had a very brief discussion of the calendar. We heard some of the concerns mentioned by some of you. I asked the team to go back and bring 2 additional options based on the comments you all made. And so Ms. Levantino is going to run through some of the changes that were made by Ms. Levantino. And as always, as I say to all of our staff, 2 words. Be brief.
Brevity, 1 word. Good evening, Board President Stewart, Vice President Gode, Superintendent Cole, members of the board. All right, so as Mr. Cole pointed out, I'm just going to kind of go through the 3 options that were put forth. This slide is just going back up as a reminder that we have policies to meet with the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, and with the addition of those other 2 options, because they are in excess of what was there from option 1, they too are within the requirements. All right, so Mr. Cole also overviewed this piece for you. As you know, on January 25th, we had the annual calendar committee meeting. They gave feedback on the original option, and then at the February CAL, at the request of the board, there were some parameters they asked us to explore and to come back with additional options. And so those 3 things were to either reduce or eliminate the half days, for instructional, to maximize instructional time or operational efficiencies, to convert the February 18th holiday into an instructional day. And then that last one was about exploration of a 190-day calendar option for instructional staff. In addition to that, there was a request on the floor, just had to look into some research around what other districts around the state and around the nation do as it comes, or as it pertains to early release days. And so we have that information for you as well. So the first one, this is literally just the original option that was put forth on the February 6th CAL. So the parameters stay as is. I see that it does have a little bit of a facelift, but just we assure you that it is the same. There are no structural changes to this. There are still 171.5 instructional days. That's 182 teacher days, 7 teacher in-service days, which is not inclusive of half-day in-service opportunities that do appear on those half-day options. There are 7 early dismissal days, and then February 18th is a holiday. Again, there are no structural changes to this one as it pertains to the calendar listed on February 6th. Option 2 is a variant of option 1 in that it too has some of the same features, except it meets the parameters set forth in number 1, which was eliminating or reducing those early dismissal days or early release days, and then number 2, exploring February 18th as an instructional day opposed to a holiday. So it has 173 full instructional days, which is up 1.5 days from option 1. There are 9 teacher in-service days, which are up 2 days from option 1. There are no early release days, and February 18th appears as an instructional day. Just as a note, despite the amendments in this calendar, there are no additional costs to the district because the staff will still be working the same salary schedule as listed in option 1. And then we have option 3, which is less of a derivative because it was an exploration in terms of trying to look how to incorporate 8 additional instructional days for staff, or 8 additional days for instructional staff, I should say. It addresses all 3 parameters in the fact that there are 182 instructional days, and that's 190 teacher days. There are 8 teacher in-service days. There are no early release days, and February 18th in this calendar also remains as an instructional day. But there is a note that the first day for teachers would be July 30th of 2025. And the last day for teachers would be May 27, 2026. First day for students, August 4th, 2025. Last day, May 26, 2026. There is a note there, a fiscal note, that this calendar option does have an additional projected cost of about $6.4 million to cover the additional salaries of the contracted days. The last piece for us was about the research request, how, if at all, are other districts utilizing early release days or teacher in-service days. So we pulled a sample group together. There are 18 school districts listed here, 5 of which are in-state. We tried to avoid those school districts that are commonly referenced and also are, for lack of a better term, variants of the East Baton Rouge Parish School System because their calendars will be similar. And then there are 13 that are out of district. Of the 18, 8 are urban districts, 6 are suburban, and 4 are rural districts. They are listed for you there in terms of what we looked at. And then the final results are listed in this chart. What we did determine is that majority of other districts around the state and in the state do utilize early dismissal days or teacher in-service days or some combination of the two in order to satisfy a number of means, whether it is administrative, teacher grading, parent-teacher conferences, or any other practices. And that is all that I have for you if there are no questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Levantino, for pulling that information as well as the research together so quickly. We sincerely appreciate you.
Thank you, Superintendent Cole. Now we move to board comments. Board Member Carla Powell-Lewis.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Ms. Levantino, for sharing. I had 2 questions, and Superintendent Cole, I'm not sure if you would direct this to Ms. Levantino or if you would want to answer. Which out of the options would technically have weather contingencies somewhat built in? Would that be option 2?
Both 1 and 2 have weather contingencies built in, am I correct? Yes.
Okay, all right. And then the other question I had was, I know I was watching from home due to illness for the cow, but my question, and I believe Mr. Russ had begun to ask about this, was what types of services would be available to students in the case that we had no early release days? Like, would we partner with community agencies to be able to support our students for teacher grading purposes, or how would that work out?
In all honesty, my expectation and request would be that our curriculum department would work with our teachers to ensure high quality instruction was taking place on those additional days. I think it's important that we provide as much instruction as possible to our students with the additional instructional minutes, the additional instructional days. I wouldn't want to seek any outside agencies to come in and do anything with our students, as most of our schools have opportunities for extracurricular activities. I would want to see the extra time spent intervening, providing support, enhancing, accelerating all of our students based on their academic needs. So that would be the expectation. I wouldn't expect for our team to go out and seek other agencies to come in and work with those students on those 8 days, as much as I would expect for teachers to plan to work with those students right up until assessment time. As we recognize, many of those days are at the end of the semester. We would just want our teachers to make the adjustment to provide the support for our students right up until assessment time. In addition to that, I do recognize teachers have typically used the early release days for grading and things of that nature, which is why we put the extra day of professional development at the end of the semester. Now, me being a realist, I know at the end of the semester with the extra day, great school leaders are going to provide the opportunity for teachers to get all of their work done on that extra day that they have at the end of the semester.
Okay, so thank you. One of my, I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but we want to make sure in the case that we were to choose option 2 or what have you, we want to make sure that there is some type of compliance or accountability measure put in place. Because of course, just as Ms. Matthews has mentioned before, and I know you all know what my credentials are, at the end of the school year or at the end of the semester, we have a lot of lenience that goes on in our schools. So what would happen or what would be put in place to make sure that there is still instructional practices going on with fidelity?
Well, I think ultimately, once you all decide on which calendar are we going to use, we then will go back and develop the measurement tools we're going to use and the monitoring tools we're going to use to ensure that quality instruction takes place at all times.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis, Carla Powell Lewis. Next, and I pass, Mr. Russ.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank the superintendent for producing a couple of options in the academic calendar for us to consider, not only for adoption, but also as an exercise to see, I think in the case of option 3, just to be able to see what a calendar like that could look like. My opinion being, and having discussed this with a few others, that option 3, I don't think we're prepared to make that drastic of a change without all of the information about a lot of the different things that we want to do with how our system operates at every level. And so, but it was really helpful for us to see what that would look like, to begin to think about those things and to put that forth to the public and to our teachers and have those conversations. I'm personally in support of option 2. It accomplishes the things that I sought, that I have seen as important in serving our kids, in reducing the exposure that we have to kids, showing up at school and then going home to a lot of different situations that we as a school system are not in control of, and maximizing the time that we have high quality instruction happening for kids. Spend some time trying to talk to educators and administrators about how that would affect them, and heard some positive feedback. But I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think either of these calendars are going to be perfect. I think there's a downside to each. And so I would like to move that we adopt calendar 2.
Do I have a second? So I have Mr. Russ with the motion to adopt 2 and Ms. Sule for the second. Any public comment? I'm sorry. Were you finished, Mr. Russ? Okay. Mr. Cliff Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Levatino. Thank you, Superintendent Cole, for, like Nathan said, the exercise. Now, half days have kind of been, that's something that we've come to live with. If you worked in a school, you know what half days are just a part of what we've adjusted and come to live with. But let me say this about the half days. Now, I've heard people talk about what the kids are doing and what they aren't doing on half days. With the data that we have collected now and the data that we will have collected next year, let's take those half days based on that data and let's look at where we are as a school. And let's have the school leadership have days where that half day may be all ELA. If it's a 4-block school and you have ELA on Mondays and Wednesday, then you have two ELA classes that half day. If it's math, you have 2 math classes that day. So you're getting high quality instruction. It's in a condensed fashion, in a condensed fashion, but it's still high quality instruction going on for a half day. We have the information and we're capable of doing that. We can capture all information we need. The principals, the school leaders can put that information to use, and those half days can be spent with high quality instruction. Also, teachers will be able to grade papers. They can do a lot of those things that teachers do with those half days. But for us to just throw up our hands and say half days aren't productive days, I think we're selling ourselves short. Take those half days, use the data. We say education is data driven. Take the data that we're compiling and we say, okay, kids, Wednesday's a half day, you're going to do ELA first period, ELA second period. If it's a school that's now somebody help me call, if it's not a 4-block school, you get 6 classes a day, correct?
6 or 7.
Okay, so you're going to get 3 ELA classes that day or 3 math classes that day. So it's high quality instruction taking place. We all know that EBR is a different animal. You can put all the districts from around the country on that screen that you want. EBR is a different place. We're in a different place. We need to do things that we haven't done before to get where we want to go. I don't know if 190 days is the way to go, but we've got to think differently if we want to move the district. We've got to think differently. We've got to say, okay, let's do this. Let's try this and see where it gets us. That'll be 7 half days, and then you got your 7 full professional development days. So you still get your professional development all day. You get your half days where there's still high quality instruction taking place. With that being said, I'm in favor of calendar 1. Now, we do this next year, and if it works, it's something that we can build in from that day forward. I just think that we shouldn't sell ourselves short by saying, oh, it's a half day. And I realize, and to Mr. Russ's point about things going on that we can't control, there's a large segment of our school population that whether it's a half day or a whole day, they don't see their parents till dark anyway. Because that parent may be working 2 jobs or 3 jobs. And this calendar is going to go out at the first of the year. We can make sure parents know when the half days are, know when the whole days are, and they can plan accordingly. It's not our job to raise them, but it's our job to inform the parents to the best of our ability with what's happening inside the schools. I have no problem with the half days. Again, I'm going to support calendar 1 because I think option 1, I think it's the best thing to do. We can gather the information. We have a whole year to gather the information, crunch the data, and see where we fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Mr. Martin.
Thank you. Ms. Levatino, the 3 half days in December and 3 half days in May, correct? In option 1.
There are 2 half days in December and 3 in May.
Okay.
Yes.
And those, am I correct in understanding that is generally when exams are going on?
Exams do occur at the end of the semester.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's no, we wouldn't expect instruction to be going on because that's the big final exams for the semesters,
So
right?
I can't speak to how each and every school would handle it because they all do their own exam schedules, but typically exams are happening on majority of the campuses.
Okay. So, I personally, I like option 2 because I think that there's so much transportation and so many issues associated with getting children to school and back from school. And we already have enough significant issues with not having adequate after-school activities for our young people that it seems to me to be compounding that problem to have this many days where we take an hour or an hour and a half to get the children to school, to be there for 3-4 hours of the exams, and then take another hour and a half to get them home, where we already know that we don't have adequate plans to do it. Yes, some day camps are open and things like that, and the parents could leave work or find however we're going to get them. I don't think we have any organized bus programs to send the kids to camp or anything like that. So to me, option 2, removing those half days, makes a lot of sense. Now, exactly what happens with the children, you're in exam period, the kids are not going to be paying attention to whatever you try to teach them after they've taken that exam in the morning, realistically, in terms of academic lessons. But there are a lot of life lessons they can learn through other activities, field days, organized activities that don't necessarily depend on them being in their classroom with a regular teacher. So I would encourage this, the superintendent, if we do adopt option 2, that we look to see whether we can support the teachers and allow them to have that half day alone in their classroom without the kids in their traditional classroom, while administrators, maybe central office staff, go out and help help out in those schools on those days. With that said, Superintendent, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. We've hired you to do this job. What calendar would you recommend to us?
So let me be very clear. My personal opinion as a teacher, I never liked half days. As a principal, I hated them because by the time we got kids off the campus and we had to deploy some of our teachers to supervise the kids who were left on campus, by the time we got teachers fed and got everyone situated, we didn't have a lot of time for quality professional development. So I've always saw half days from an administrative perspective as a waste of time. As a superintendent of school, overseeing a district with DNF schools, I believe our students need as much time on task as possible. I'm not even a fan, since you put me on the spot, I'm not even a fan of at the end of the semester having other agencies come in and teach life lessons. I'm a fan of teachers after the assessment has been given, working with students on skills they know they're still deficient. We have students on our campus, no matter what time of the school year it is, that are going to be deficient based on what the data is telling us. And we have teachers who can be spending that time providing the additional support for students. While I do recognize systemically in our city, we've come accustomed to using those half days for downtime, for fun time, for parties and things of that nature. I just think if we are going to do what is best for children, we have to think about how do we best utilize the time wisely. I, as superintendent, am going to do whatever you all vote and going to ask everybody to do their best to meet the needs of our kids. But if given the sole decision to make, in all honesty, I visited Birmingham, Alabama with President Stewart, Ms. Edwards, and Ms. Dugan, where they left the light on for us, and we learned a great deal of information around how to use time a little bit differently. And so what I'm going to suggest to the board is that once a month, beginning in July, we start to think about how do we utilize our time differently in an effort to meet the needs of our kids, and that's going to be our choice. It's not going to be a mandatory meeting, but I've already spoken to Deputy Superintendent Smith to start having those sessions prior to the calendar committee convening, so we can begin to have conversations about how do we utilize the time differently. I had a conversation this morning with a few of our board members about what we learned in Birmingham on some of the things they're doing creatively to utilize time differently, in terms of at the end of each semester providing additional time for struggling learners, at the end of the semester providing enrichment opportunities for learners who may not have those same opportunities at their schools. And I think we have to start traveling, learning, and then doing some things differently to meet the needs of our students. So if I had to pick tonight, I would pick option 2. That's just me. And I don't want any of the teachers to be upset with me because they like half days. But again, I have to think about what's best for kids. And while I do agree teachers need the time, one of the things I said to Ms. Leventina was make sure we gave them a full day at the end of the semester. And one of the things I said to Chief Williams and Chief Academic Officer Edwards, make sure we are working with our school leaders to provide that time at the end of the semester for our teachers to grade papers, make phone calls, wrap up their classrooms, and do everything they need to do. And in addition to that, we have to be strategic. The last day of school may be the last day of school, but it shouldn't be the last day that teachers are allowed on campus. So just because the classroom is not wrapped up on the last day doesn't mean teachers can't come back at the beginning of the summer and still continue to do their work, working with our facilities team to make sure that teachers still have access to those facilities at the beginning of the summer. So that's my opinion. You asked, and I hope I did a good job of not being brief and answering the question.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. I'll wrap up as my colleague, Vice President Goday, has wanted to remind us, most of us, with a few exceptions, are not academic experts. We're not professional educators. You are. And so I'm certainly going to join in your opinion. I'm going to support option 2. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And we have Mr. Goday.
Thank you, and Superintendent, I will be brief. I just wanted to make the observation that we talk a lot about this and exams and all this sort of stuff. Remember that more than half of our kids are elementary kids. Exams and things like that are a high school subject, and that is not what most of our kids are doing. Also, I have every comment I got from parents, particularly of parents from young kids, was how horrible and disruptive on their lives were half days for elementary kids. So as we talk about all these things, let's think about not only a 10th, 11th, and 12th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grader, let's think about a 4th grader and a 3rd grader and what that means to them, because they are in an entirely different world than someone, seniors won't even be there anyway, but they're in an entirely different world than 9th, 10th, and 11th graders taking final exams. And I recognize some 8th graders might be also taking final exams, but most of our kids aren't, and most of our teachers aren't. So just an observation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goday. And so that concludes all of our comments. And so, Board Secretary? Would
you like to repeat the motion?
You want to repeat what that is?
The motion to approve option 2 for the 25-26 school year calendar.
Okay. Can we call for a vote?
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along, going to item G, the consent agenda. Ms. Carla Powell Lewis.
I have a point of order before she reads it, if I may. I'm going to recuse myself from the consent agenda because there's an LSU item on it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, you ready? Okay. Alphabet G, consent agenda. G1, consent vote. The following items are to be approved as part of the consent agenda and are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion. I'm sorry, I could be reading off of this one. Okay, there will be no separate discussion of items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as an item on the regular agenda for a separate vote preceding the last item on the regular agenda. Alphabet G2, extern agreement, Louisiana State University. Consideration of a request for approval of an amendment to the external agreement between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and the Board of Supervisors of Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College not to exceed $115,919 to extend the agreement for 1 year to provide up to 9 externs. Funding source, General Fund. Item G3, grant real-time early access to literacy, REAL. Consideration of a request for the acceptance of the real-time early access to literacy, REAL grant, and approval of the related budget in the amount of $192,750 to provide effective literacy tutoring, training, and support and related matters. Item G4, grant, Academic Distinction Fund, ADF. Consideration of a request for the acceptance of the Academic Distinction Fund, ADF grant, in the amount of $15,000 to build a playhouse at South Downs Pre-K Center. Alphabet G5, Professional Services Contract, K-12 Insight. Consideration of a request for the approval of a professional services contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and K-12 Insight in the amount of $190,000 to provide a cloud-based platform to enhance customer service. Alphabet G6, Professional Services Contract, Bailey Education Group, LLC, consideration of a request for the approval of a professional services contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Bailey Education Group, LLC, in the amount of $107,800 to provide professional development and coaching sessions for special education teachers and administrators. Funding source, redesign. G7, Professional Services Contract, Amplify Education Incorporated, consideration of a request for the approval of a professional services contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Amplify Education Incorporated in the amount of $288,400 to provide coaching for teachers on science resources in CIR and UIR schools. Funding source, redesign. G8, RFP, E-rate selection, consideration of a request to accept the RFP committee recommendation and to authorize the superintendent and staff to negotiate and execute a contract between East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Lockstep Group, DBA, Transform X, to provide E-rate qualified services and equipment as specified in the related request for proposals. G9, demolition of Banks Elementary, consideration of a request for authorization for staff to advertise, accept the low bid, meeting specifications, and make the award of contract for demolition of Banks Elementary School as specified in the A plan to improve facilities, technology, discipline, and compensation in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System, the plan as revised through February 22nd, 2018, or reject any and all bids for just cause in accordance with the Louisiana Public Bid Law. Item G10, litigation, consideration of a request for the approval of the recommendation from Gwen Shamlin, General Counsel for East Baton Rouge Parish School Board in the matter of Nina Dillon versus EBR Parish School Board and Vincent Woodard, docket number 735131, Division O, 19th Judicial District Court of East Baton Rouge Parish, and to provide for related matters. This is the end of the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Ms. Powell-Lewis. Do we have any comments from the public on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Ms. Powell-Lewis?
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
It's been moved by Ms. Powell-Lewis. Do we have a second? A second by Board Member Rust.
Mr. Gode, we normally request if any board member wants to pull an item.
Sorry. Are there any items that any board member would like to see pulled from the consent agenda? My apologies. Seeing none, are there any other board comments related to the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please conduct the vote? Rust, yeah.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next, we have item H, new business. Item 1, RFP selection, occupational and physical therapy services. Consideration of a request to accept the RFP committee recommendation and to authorize the superintendent and staff to negotiate and execute a contract between East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and First Choice Therapy to provide occupational and physical therapy services related matters. Dr. Harris. Is that present there? Yeah, looks like she's getting up.
Yeah, Dr. Harris is coming.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Stewart, Superintendent Cole, and members of the board. Tonight, we bring forward to you the results of the RFP process where we looked at 2 vendors who would provide occupational and physical therapy services to our students here in the district. As a result of that RFP process, we bring forward a recommendation that you all would accept our recommendation for First Choice Therapies, who would provide those services to our students with disabilities in the district. And we do have Ms. Emily Green here, the owner of First Choice Therapies, and her staff. I would ask them to come up at this time. So that they can give you a brief overview of the services that they do provide.
Superintendent Cole, school board members, Dr. Harris, we at First Choice Therapy want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to continue serving the exceptional students in East Baton Rouge Parish by providing occupational and physical therapy for those students. We currently provide occupational therapy for 1,079 of your students and physical therapy for 237 of the students. So we have over 1,300 students that receive occupational and physical therapy. We go to over 100 sites that your students are located in, and we provide individualized therapy as based on their educational programming. And I'm going to try to be brief, but I will answer any questions that you all have for me at this time.
Mr. Martin?
I don't have any questions. I was just getting in the queue so I could make a motion at the appropriate time.
Okay. Public comment? Any public comments? We have an online.
We have one online public comment from Mrs. Trinetta Williams. I'm a parent of a child who received physical and occupational therapy weekly in school. The therapists at First Choice Therapy that have worked with my son are exceptional. On the first day at a new school, my son was nervous and didn't want to leave us. He recognized the voice of his therapist, Dr. Damer, and she comforted him. Yes, Mr. Godet, therapist, the only person a child may know when attending a new school. Therapists are always open to new ideas to achieve goals on his IEP. And that concludes the online comment.
Thank you, Mr. Godet. Okay, Mr. Martin, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate very much the great services that your firm provides our students, and so I'm very happy to move that we accept the recommendation and authorize the superintendent and staff to negotiate and execute the contract.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir. Paul Lewis, Mr. Martin and Paul Lewis. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Russ.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question is, would the final contract come back to the board for approval, or is this basically kind of a vote to authorize superintendent to handle all that?
Per the language of the motion or of the item, you give us the authority to execute. It would not come back to the board, yes.
Okay, so then I just have one question. Same question, every contract. What is the metric that we will determine success in this contract? I know that this is a service that the school system must provide, and I just want to make sure that, especially having looked at our previous contract 3 years from now, that we have a great barometer to determine the success of these services.
The way we're going to measure the success is the number of students and the minute requirements of the IEP for the services that they're supposed to receive. So looking over a 3-year period of time, working with the vendor to determine how many students were seen, what were the IEPs, and then what services were provided within the IEPs to meet those requirements, and based on the goals in the IEP set forth of the services that are going to be provided by the vendor. Does that make sense, Dr. Harris?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Great. Thank you for that. Please ensure that there is an accountability measure in the contract like we're asking for in every contract, so that we will set up our future board for future success in these decisions. And thank you, Ms. Green, for all the great work you're doing in our school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Mr. Gode?
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Green, for all the work that you and your team do for the kids that need it the most. It's very appreciated. One of the things that's important about this contract, and one of the things that I think First Choice has brought to us, is a great more scrutiny and increase in our reimbursement from the Medicare, right?
Medicaid.
Medicaid, I'm sorry. I always get them confused. I'm old, I think Medicare. But that the reimbursement rate that we get from these. So I would ask in the contract, because that is a key item, that we put something in that contract that if the reimbursement rate falls below, I don't know what's the appropriate number, 80% or some kind of number, that not that the contract's over, but that a meeting occurs and we discuss about how to get that back on track. Because even though this is a $4 million contract, we get 80-something% of it, or I guess sometimes up closer to 90% of it back from the federal government. And Ms. Kelly Lopez, I recognize we get it a year delayed, but we still get it. But I would just like to have something in the contract that should something happen, because falling below the rate might be our issue. Most likely is our issue as we get to this. So it's not anything about the performance, but it is a measure of the financial impact on the district.
I would just comment that we work closely and watch very closely Louisiana Department of Health and the changes that they have to make based on CMS guidelines. And oftentimes the changes that are made are out of our hands, but we will work, of course, with them to make sure that all appropriate reimbursement that EBR is due, that we're going to get that for them. Last year, the reimbursement percentage was 82.95%.
Yes, thank you. And I know you're very diligent in that and keep up with all of the requirements and things. I just would like to have some kind of a flag go up, that if something's going off track, that a flag goes up and we know we know we're off track and we can try to get back on track. Sure. Like I said, odds are it wouldn't be your problem, but we need to make sure we keep an eye on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gode. You have another one, right? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Emily.
Thank you.
Any other board comments? Okay. Madam Secretary.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2, we have a student exposure. Board members, have you had the opportunity to review the case? I'm sorry, Superintendent has another presentation.
Oh, we have another presentation, junior achievement. Yeah. I know, but it's not here. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
I'm sorry. Moving along, exposure matter. Board members, have you had the opportunity to review the case? I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to hear the matter? Okay. Number 3.
Hearing no motion, the superintendent's recommendation stands.
Oh. We're hearing no motion. The superintendent recommendation stands, and that's for number 2. Okay, number 3, do I have a motion? Have your board members looked at it? Do I have a motion? So, hearing no motion, the superintendent's recommendation stands. That's for number 3. And finally, number 4, board members? Okay, no motion? Have you had the opportunity to look at it or review it? Do I have a motion? And so with that being said, hearing no motion, the superintendent's recommendation stands. Now, we have item I, presentations. The first presentation we have with junior achievement.
Great. Good evening, Madam President and Superintendent Cole and Board of Directors. Really appreciate you having us here. I'm going to make this very quick as well, but just wanted to provide you an update of how the year is going with junior achievement. Let's see. I'm learning this one. All right, so you all know that we work on 3 core pillars: financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. We've had a very busy year, so just wanted to kind of give you a high-level overview of what we've been able to accomplish. We have our JA in a Days, which many of you have been at, serving our K through 5 students, in which it's sequential learning on the financial literacy and work readiness all across EBR, so that's super exciting. That's going very strong. We have our Discovery Center Mobile, which we had our opening this past fall. It is absolutely amazing. The 5th grade students and the 7th grade students are the ones that are going through this. Many of you actually joined us for the grand opening, so I appreciate you taking your time to come and see it live. Superintendent Cole, we met and really kind of worked on this plan together to ensure that these engaging immersive programs are available. But the Discovery Center Mobile has these 2 programs, the 5th being the BizTown, where the students are actually running a city for the day. And we bring in this mobile city that's popped up. They're taking the 12 lessons prior to coming. They're acting as the consumers and the producers. They're selling goods in an immersive 4-hour experience with junior achievement. And then with our Finance Park, that's for the 7th graders, where it's the 12 lessons that are in the classroom, where they're learning all about the bills that they're going to pay as an adult. And when they come to the actual Finance Park, they're given that iPad, they turn it on, find out who they are for the day, if they're married, single, what their credit score is, how many children they have, and they have to create a positive budget. So later on, I'll share another opportunity for each one of you to actually come see the Discovery Center live. It's not an EBR for this viewing, but we will be back again in EBR in the fall and hopefully for a longer run. It was amazing and the teachers are absolutely loving it. We have our Mentoring Men and Leading Ladies. Many of you have participated in this, which is a half day where we're spending with the high school males and females, really teaching them soft skills, teaching the guys how to tie a tie, working on career exploration, really diving into that and bringing those mentors from the community to ensure that they're getting those, getting some good advice and some good guidance from some solid business mentors from the community. So those are all going extremely well also. Then we have our financial literacy mandate. We've been working on that, and many of you are familiar with that. We've created the entire year-long curriculum that meets every objective set forth in the mandate. So that curriculum is ready and available for all EBR high schools to ensure that they have the assessments, they have everything that they need to to teach that curriculum and are prepared. And we have quite a few schools that are using that as well. This past year, we've had 13,156 students that we've impacted. And of course, we've got quite a few other programs that we're working on. We can go on and on for days with the programs that Junior Achievement is offering, but we do also have full year-long curriculum, Marketing 1, Marketing 2, Economics for Success, a lot of other courses that your schools are taking advantage of as well. Just to kind of give you a little overview, I know it's important to know where Junior Achievement is pulling this funding, how are we operating, how are we serving over 13,000 students in EBR each year. And I think it's important to note that it costs JA $515,000 a year to service EBR students alone. We have well over $1 million budget that we serve Greater Baton Rouge, but over half of that is dedicated to EBR. I think it's also important to note that if you look at this pie chart, $424,000 is raised through other metrics through our corporate partnerships that we build. It's also raised through the events that we're funding. So we're making sure that we are very good stewards of our donor dollars, but that also that we're not putting the burden on EBR school system, and that we're raising those funds to ensure that those schools are serviced. With that said, I have Visitors Day, and I have a correction on this slide. I apologize. The school actually had to make a change with the buses, but we really encourage you to come see the Discovery Center Mobile. It's going to be in St. Gabriel. That is going to be on March the 12th. The correction is the time. The time is going to be from 10 to 11 because the bus has to leave early that day. So please mark your calendar, St. Gabriel Community Center, 10 to 11 on March the 12th. And then lastly, what I'll leave you with, when we look at the service that we've all done together and the support that we've got for Junior Achievement, Larry, my partner over here, and I, he's surprised, but I've got a picture of him up here, and there's a reason why. We have Destiny Maiden, one of your EBR students, who we actually ran into probably about a month ago. And when you want to see full circle what you're bringing to these students, it's absolutely amazing. So Miss Destiny started her JA career with EBR at Forest Heights Elementary when she was in elementary school. She then participated in Finance Park. Do you remember the old Cortana Mall days? So she participated there, and that was in middle school. That was through McKinley Middle. And then in high school, she actually went back and taught through her DECA Club a JA in a day class. So she was putting those leadership skills into action. And then finally, she participated in our Trust Your Crazy Idea Challenge locally, where she created an organic baby food and won that challenge here, won scholarship money through Junior Achievement. She then went to the state level and she won the state competition. And then Larry and I finally ran back into her where we were volunteering together at Scotlandville. So, it's just really exciting to see those stories, come together. We appreciate your support. We look forward to doing more with you and here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson, and we do Ms. Carla Powell-Lewis.
Yes.
I know I've been entering the queue quite a bit tonight, but first I want to tell you thank you, Ms. Dawson, and thank you, Mr. Celestine. First, I'm very surprised to see Destiny was one of my students in high school.
Yes.
Also having the opportunity to take students to the Finance Park at the old Cortana Mall was always a highlight. I taught free enterprise and civics, and so of course that was a major part of our culminating projects for econ. And so I want to tell you thank you for your work. And then I also want to say to those of you who are serving on the board with me, when you want us to come out and visit, we want to go through the simulation.
Please, we would love that.
Sign us up to represent different family structures. That's going to be interesting.
That's wonderful. We will absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Powell-Lewis. Yes, we have Mr. Gode.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to thank JA for all the hard work they do, and Ms. Dawson, you and your team that's here. But I also want to send out a salute to, I attend some of the board meetings, And when you sit in these board meetings for JA and you see all of the companies around the area that are represented in those meetings and all of the people that are devoting their time and energy to running the board. So not only do I want to thank you, but I'd like for you to bring our thanks back to your board and thank all of those individuals who are giving of their time and talents to our students. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you, Mr. Gode. And I want to personally thank you too, Ms. Dawson and your team. Thanks.
Thank you. Hope to see you March 12th.
Thank you so kindly.
Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate you and look forward to the collaboration to continue helping our children in financial literacy.
And next, we have another presentation by Mr. John Smith with the Fair Share Program.
Good evening, Board President Stewart and board members. I'm John Smith. I coordinate the Fair Share Program for the East Baton Rouge Parish Public School System, and I wanted to give you a high-level overview of the Fair Share Program. I think each one of you had received some background information, so what I want to do this evening in my minute and a half is just kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. As you can see, the Fair Share Program is a comprehensive approach designed to facilitate the inclusion of minority and women-owned businesses in the procurement and/or contracting opportunities offered under the oversight of the East Baton Rouge Parish Public School System. But the program strives to accomplish this mission through gathering of data. We choose to do it that way because it's the data that makes the difference between this program and some other programs that are out there. The data actually tells us what is a company's strengths and what are the actual pending opportunities that are coming up. What are some of the barriers that may prohibit a company from being able to participate. But I also like to say that the companies in the Fair Share Program represent a unique group of companies. These are companies that have the potential to do the opportunities that become available to them. Here are some of the project. The three major providers of the projects are HES Facilities Management, the EBR departments, and the CSRS Tillage. Those are the three areas that encompass most of the projects that come about to us. Next slide, please. One of the first things I said is these are companies that have the ability to participate, and this is the first thing we ask a company to do, is provide a company profile. But this company profile gives us certain information. One of the first things it says is tell us what you do well, give us some examples that are supporting data. One of the last things we want to do is have a company in the program, but then because they don't have the capacity, they have not done some of the things in the past, would not be a good fit. So this company profile is the first thing we ask them for. Next slide, please. Based upon that, we asked them to provide us with this information. A friend of mine once said, well, when Get Mad Day comes, you want to be prepared. This is our kind of protection against that. How do you know a company is a woman or minority-owned company? This tells us that. This tells us about their information, and there's also another document that goes with this where they have to have it certified. So this lets us know that the companies are in the range of the size and all the other things that we say you should be in order to be in the Fair Share Program. Next slide, please. This is kind of the flow of how things actually work. The first step is the identification of opportunities by external or internal stakeholders. The second step is a timely communication. One of the things we find out is that oftentimes people don't find out about opportunities in a timely manner. So one of the first things we want to do is to make sure that they hear about it in a timely manner. Then we've implemented some other things. It's the engagement and attendance, and whether it's a pre-bid meeting or some meeting where the opportunities are actually talked about. Oftentimes we find out companies do not know all of the specifics behind it. Then we encourage them to submit a bid. If they do, we go down to the next step, which is a review of the submittal of the bids to help them ensure that their participation. This moves over completion of a Fair Share Company evaluation form. If they've gotten the opportunity, we want to get some feedback on the back end, what went well, what didn't go well. And then we want to do some things, recommendation of continuous improvement. But let's go back. If they did not submit a bid, we'd like to find out why. Why is it that they chose not to participate in the opportunity that was put before them? Were there barriers or just what? Next slide, please. Now here's some examples of how this actually lives out, and these are historical pieces. The next time I come before you, I'll give you more up-to-date information. But here's an example. One of the things we talked about doing was we're talking about concrete repair opportunities. And there were 12 work orders that were submitted. But let's treat those as one. Let's invite companies to the table. Let's let them all submit a bid on these particular projects. And here's some examples of how that plays out. There were 6 companies that were invited, total 4 of which were fair share. Of those, 3 participated in the pre-bid, was 3 of the 4. Submitted bids were 3 out of the 6. And in that bundle, there was actually a 62% participation contracts. They were the lowest bidders, which means the companies can compete if given the opportunity. Next slide, please. It's just a third example, same scenario. And we chose 3 different ones so you can see that the companies can do different things in different areas. Next slide, please. Now here's some information related to some of the larger projects. These are the projects with CSRS tillage. As you can see here, it goes from the name of the project to the project start date. Again, this is historical information that we have here. You have from the architectural side, what was that percentage? From the contractor side, what was that percentage? And as you can see, it's 29, 32, 21, 12%. And we do have one that was a 8.5%. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is access to opportunities and companies actually participating and following through and going back to trying to make sure we try to reach the 20% goal that the board set back, what was that, about 2011. Next slide, please. So expanding opportunities, relationships, and reducing barriers. How do we go about doing this? Some of the things we've done is conducted several meetings and events designed to better connect participants in the program to the opportunities, both current as well as pending opportunities. We continue to conduct meetings with our major providers of the opportunities. What's at the heart of this is having a working relationship where we are aware of opportunities, the community is aware of the opportunities. And here are the 4 major areas where these occur. We have our internal EBR departments. We have HES. We have CSRS tillage. And there are some other external providers of opportunities. It could be the architects. It could be the contractors. Those are the ones that constitute that other external providers of the service. And the purpose of this is what I call GOD, gathering of data, with the desired outcome of building a stronger working relationship between the fair share, myself, between the community, and between the companies within the fair share program. Next slide, please. We skipped one, I think. This is what I remember I talked about, the project evaluation. So what we would do is, I would do is send this out and ask these questions. Time to completion of the project and or the requested task. Adequate staffing to complete the project. Professionalism of the primary contact person. Responsiveness to problems. And then the satisfaction with agreed upon project or task. We use this to go back and say if there's some conversation that we need to have, we want to be able to go back and have these conversations. But these are not punitive conversations. These are conversations designed for continuous improvement. Next slide, please. So here are the closing comments. The Fair Share program does not focus on telling companies about opportunities, but directly connecting them to the opportunities. And this is accomplished through the development and the implementation of the process that you saw earlier. Which includes inspiring companies to communicate with us, communicate with each other, a commitment and collaboration between providers of opportunities in the Fair Share office. We stay in close contact with our procurement office. We work closely we try to work closely with CSRS tillage. We try to work very closely with our facilities maintenance department. And more recently, we've been reaching out to all of the departments to have a conversation with them. Where are the opportunities? What I always say is, if you've been buying chairs from this same company for 5 years and the price is good and they deliver on time, there's no opportunity there. By the same token, though, if the nameplates, you're not quite happy with that particular provider, that's an opportunity. So we want to figure, what are those opportunities and how can we work collaboratively together to reach that 20% goal. And also the last thing we want to do is have the community say that you told us you were going to do this and you have not been doing it, which is why we document who was informed about the opportunity, who participated in the opportunity, and the outcome. Next slide, please. That's me. I'm John Smith. This is how to reach me. But one thing I did want to add, let me answer some other questions that you may have. So how many companies are there in the Fair Share program? There are approximately 154. But what are those areas that it encompasses? Commercial facility-related focus, custodial services, consulting services, advertising, design, public relations, health and wellness, waste disposal, uniforms, and professional development. Those are some of the areas. So it's not just construction-related. There are all these other areas that are out there. And finally, to talk about something that we call the growth program. We try to utilize HES and other entities such as that to help companies build their capacity. These are where the smaller projects are. These are the projects that they can use, and we ask them to do the same thing. They have to come submit a bid, go through all the process, so they can become accustomed to doing these things as they grow their capacity to move on to over and larger, bigger and better things. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Are there any questions from the board members? Okay, and I just want to say, I thought it was a good opportunity for Mr. Smith to bring this information to the board, to give us some information and feedback on how the process worked, especially because there are about to be opportunities for work to be done within the district, upcoming projects and things of that nature. And so I thought it was good for him to come and, inform us, and so that we can be aware of how we are collaborating with vendors and different businesses to help us with the mission of our district. Thank you, Mr. John.
Thank you.
Well, we have item J, organization items. Mr. Russ.
A community engagement facility alignment meeting to be held March 12th at 6 p.m. at Magnolia Woods Elementary. Some or all board members may attend. Board workshop to be held at 4 o'clock, March 13th, 2025 in the central office boardroom. Committee of the whole meeting to be held on March 13th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the central office boardroom. Regular meeting to be held March 20th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the central office boardroom.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. And Superintendent Cole has something to say.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, point of personal privilege, I just take this opportunity to acknowledge the passing of one of our former employees, Mr. Roosevelt Teddy Brown, who spent a great deal of his time as a teacher and coach at McKinley High School. He was the dean of students at Sherwood Middle School. A family member said that Brown did not have any ongoing health issues at the time of his death. His last day was a normal one. The family member said he had come home from running errands and passed away quietly. He was 87 years old. Brown was inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2004 and spent his time off the high school court attending most of the Southern University basketball games. Services for Roosevelt Teddy Brown are going to be held at Hall Davis & Son Celebration Center starting at 11 a.m. on Monday, February 21st? 24, Monday, February 24th. So if you would indulge me with a moment of silence for Roosevelt Teddy Brown. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Coach, I'll let you have it.